Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at 20 legend teams for the Open Great League, as you're going to have this league, I think, available even for 2 weeks now. But also, of course, you're going to have the special weekend now. We're going to be able to have 10 sets a day. So actually, I think even that for 4 days, which is kind of wild. So definitely a lot of Great League that's coming up. So maybe those teams going to help you to climb up to legend as well. If you enjoy this type of videos and you want to support me, feel free to subscribe to the channel. And also, if you want to get early access to those videos, feel free to support this channel as well through the membership if you want to. Would really appreciate it. But let's move on to the first team. First team here, we're going to have a team around the Shadow Poliwrath here, which is going to be one of the best Pokemon, of course, in the current meta. This Pokemon is just very, very strong and very busted. We have the Cresselia in the back. I'm not going to go too in-depth about all the teams because it's 20 teams total. And also, the players that got to Legend with those teams are also always, of course, next to the team name there. So definitely a solid lineup for you here. Poliwrath, Lickitung core is going to be a very common good core to go for. This team struggles maybe a little bit against Pokemon like the Charger Bug. Charger Bug might be a little bit tricky for this one, but let's move on to the second team. Second team coming up, we're going to have a Charger Bug team. There are going to be a lot of Charger Bug teams around. We're going to have a Water type in the lead. We're going to have the Charger Bug as a Seiza and the Powder Snow variant of the Sandslash in the back. I think they didn't use even the Shadow variant, they just used the normal variant of it. But again here, Seiza, Charger Bug, you have a Water type in the lead to beat those Fire type Pokemon like the Talonflame. And then the Sandslash in the back is supposed to sweep endgame. Very solid lineup still. Sandslash having access to the move Drill Run, going to give you some coverage against those Steel type Pokemon like a Registeel, which is really cool. So definitely a team that should work out pretty well for you as well. Team number 3, we're going to have the team from the World Champion as well, which is really cool to have. We're going to have the Lickitung, Poliwrath, as well as Gligar team. I would actually go for Gligar as a Seiza for this team. I feel like this might be a little bit of a better play to go for. Gligar is very neutral, but Shadow Poliwrath, you look just like, honestly, Shadow Poliwrath, like so overpowered in this meta currently. It's like such a strong Pokemon. Lickitung just very neutral. Like kind of what you want to do is usually play out the lead. If you can win the lead, the game is basically over because you can align your Pokemon. And Poliwrath and Gligar are such a strong core together that you basically beat any kind of Pokemon with that. And so yeah, Lickitung lead wins a lot of matchups. If you win the lead, you nearly win the game. Team number 4, we're going to have a team here with the Altaria. Altaria actually kind of get some more play recently, also in the Play Pokemon format, so like those regional tournaments. But as you're going to see here, this team is going to be also with Skeledirge, a Pokemon that is very, very solid, especially as a Seiza, because a lot of people don't really expect the coverage that this Pokemon has. Having access to Disarming Voice plus Shadow Ball gives it great coverage against the current meta. And we're going to have the Lantern in the back that is going to be able to clean up especially those Rock-type Pokemon like the Carbink, which you don't really want to face with either the Altaria or the Skeledirge. Next team coming up is going to be a very simple team here with Whiscash there. Whiscash is, I always say like this name by the way wrong, and I always get like comments about this, but we're going to see like Whiscash here going to be one of the best Pokemon currently as well in the Play Pokemon format. Like a lot of people tend to play this Pokemon now over Swampert because Scald debuff is pretty broken. I would imagine that Scald gonna get nerfed for the new season coming up. But yeah, Dragonair going to be the Seiza here, and the Alone Sandslash in the back is going to be running Powder Snow again. Dragonair always looks kind of awkward in like the 0-1 shield scenario, which is always like the case for those kind of graphics here. But Dragonair in the 2 shield scenario is able to beat most of the Pokemon in the current meta, which kind of makes it a great Seiza, and also a great lead if you want to, if you have basically like an RPS backline where you kind of want to align your Pokemon correctly. But yeah, let's move on to team number 6 here, which is going to be Dragonair in the lead. This was actually not even like, I didn't know that this would be the case, but that's basically kind of what you want to do as well. Again, you kind of want to align your Pokemon correctly thanks to the Dragonair being in the lead. I would imagine they go for Registeel Seiza, not too sure about it. I feel like both have play as a Seiza here, but I feel like Registeel might be a little bit better for it. But basically, you kind of want to realign your Pokemon. You have the Fire-type weakness of Registeel, you have Lantern, which kind of covers this, you have the Grass-type weakness of Lantern, which the Registeel kind of can cover. So this team definitely does make a lot of sense as well, and should be a very solid one for you to run. Team number 7 is going to be actually 2 legend teams. This is going to be some other team going to be like, I think actually 3 legend teams together, because a lot of them are kind of similar, and we kind of want to make even more teams here into this video. So it's actually like around like 23 legend teams or whatever total. But here we're going to have a team with Guzzlord, the Deoxys, as well as the Azumarill. This was the Tauntaun team here, but also you can use the fullback team, which I also made a video about on my channel already if you want to check this one out, where you're going to have the Seiza of the Lantern and also the Pelipper in the back. For the Pelipper team, there basically you always kind of want to swap into the Lantern unless they're going to have an Azumarill in the lead, then you want to go into the Pelipper. And I think for the Deoxys team, you kind of want to use Deoxys as your say swap. So definitely an interesting team there. I actually definitely enjoyed the one with the Pelipper as well as the Lantern already, so definitely something that I would recommend you to try out. Team number 8, we're going to have a team here with the Gligar in the lead. Shadow Gligar plus Registeel plus Azumarill, just a very standard team here with a lot of decent Pokemon to cover the weaknesses of the Gligar. Gligar, of course, main weakness is going to be Ice. You have 2 Pokemon that resist this in the back, so this team does make a lot of sense. Gligar right now is coming back again, basically was kind of gone from the meta because Pokemon like the the Skarmory, which kind of completely wards this one, but still coming back now. Still, I would go, if you play something like a Skarmory in the lead, maybe go for the Azumarill as a say-swap would maybe make some more sense. Team number 9, we're going to have here a team with the Alolan Sandslash this time around in the lead, and we have actually basically the same backline, which is kind of funny. So maybe I could have actually put this one as well together with the other one. I would imagine that you have like a kind of similar playstyle here as well. Very certain they're running Shadow Claw instead of the Powder Snow this time around though, but might be also wrong with that, but still, very solid lineup here. I feel like Alolan Sandslash is going to have a little bit more play coming up as well. I feel like this Pokemon is kind of underrated in the current meta. Main reason for this is that everybody is running Gligar plus Lickitung Core again, which was kind of common last season already, and the Alolan Sandslash, especially if you run Powder Snow in the lead, is going to break this core, so like this is definitely a solid Pokemon to run. And again, I feel like you cannot play it similarly. Like you usually want to use the say-swap of the Lantern, but if you have like something where Lantern it would be really good against and the Pelipper is only kind of neutral against, go for the Pelipper as a say-swap instead. Team number 10 here, that boy Jay. A very classic line actually, something that would also be able to work already like the times before. Like maybe they're running Psychic as well, but here I went for the Dynamic Punch for the Medicham, but you kind of have the Lickitung in the lead. Say-swap going to be your Surfetch, having great access to different kind of coverage moves. I think they went for Night Slash on this. You can also go for Brave Bird. Brave Bird does make a lot of sense as well. But then you're going to have, of course, also the Medicham in the back, which I feel like is a little bit underrated, so maybe we're going to make a video with this Pokemon as well. But of course, now with Annihilate, that's going to be very interesting as well. If you're wondering why there's no team with the Annihilate, of course nobody was able to hit Legend yet because it's not released yet. It's going to be released tomorrow, but I already made a video yesterday about this Pokemon where I showcase some top teams around, and so definitely check this video out as well. Going to be linked in the end card, so you don't even have to click away from this video. Let's move on to team number 11. This is going to be the, I think, first Legend team. I think it's the first Legend team if I'm not mistaken, and definitely showcase this team as well on my channel. Going to be a Chargerback Lantern as well as the Talonflame. Very solid lineup there. A little bit weak against something like a Swampert apparently, but yeah, Double Electric seems to be fairly decent right now. But again, like it is definitely a solid lineup. I guess Chargerback kind of neutral, kind of want to realign them later on with Lantern and Talonflame. But there are also always kind of a little bit of weaknesses. For example, Pokemon like Dragon-type Pokemon like a Dragonair would be a little bit tricky for this team, but still a solid one there for sure. Next team, team number 12. I think I made a video about this one as well, but I'm not too sure about it. We're going to have a triple Shadow team here to Legend, which is kind of funny. We're going to have the Gligar, we have the Poliwrath, and we have the Alolan Sandslash, which are all Shadow here. Shadow Claw, I think, on the Alolan Sandslash, which is kind of interesting as well. But I think I made a video about this team as well, so definitely check this video out then as well for that. Definitely a solid lineup here as well. Gligar's just very strong currently. I would imagine that Gligar is going to be insanely common anyway, but we're also going to get the Shadow Frosters very soon, so this maybe helps out with the Gligar problem. But let's move on to team number 13. This is actually 3 Legend teams in one, as you can see there. They all had the same lead, they all had the same say-swap here, kind of Lickitung, and they all had like a different Pokemon in the back. Either Azumarill, the Registeel, or the Whiscash is going to be fine for you. Like all of them can kind of play out similar matchups, but yeah. In my opinion, I would most likely go for something like the Registeel in this case. Or maybe, like, I don't know, like, all of them have kind of their benefits and, like, some issues with it. For example, if you go for Registeel, you're going to be better off against something like a Lickitung. But if you go for Registeel, you're going to struggle a little bit more against Pokemon like Whiscash. So maybe Azumarill might also make some sense there as well. Going to help you out as well against the Vigoroth, which might be kind of interesting. But, yeah, depends on really what you want to do here. This definitely should work out pretty well for you. Next team, going to be a double Dragon line. So you're going to have a lead of the Deoxys defense, which is really good in lead in general. Going for the Psycho Boost and Dip strategy is really solid. And then you're going to have the Dragonair as a Sayswap, going to be able to bait out a lot of Pokemon. Even if you're going to get out a Carbink, you still have the super effective Aqua Tail for that one. So then Guzzlord can sweep in the back, basically. I guess you could also try something out like the Dragonite in the back, but Guzzlord just has a lot of play against Pokemon like the Lickitung now, which something like a Dragonite struggles a little bit more against. So definitely a solid Pokemon for sure. Team 15 here, we're going to have the Azumarill in the lead, the Sayswap of the Lickitung and the Alolan Sandslash in the back. Very like solid lineup. Again, you kind of want to bait out a potential fighting type Pokemon. You have the Azumarill for the Poliwrath, and then you kind of want to try to sweep endgame with the Alolan Sandslash, which currently is a very good core breaker, especially against Pokemon like the Gligar, for example. So basically, yeah, Lickitung Sayswap, try to get out the fighting type Pokemon, having the Sandslash in the back. Very solid lineup, very like, I don't know, standard lineup that definitely should work out in any kind of elo range, so definitely try this team out as well. Team number 16, a team that I definitely didn't really want to try out, but I definitely see that a lot of people like actually had some success. I know that other people tried this team out as well and were like kind of happy with it. So we're going to have the Dewgong, Medicham and Carbink. This team has some like major issues. For example, Carbink itself going to be a little bit tricky, Cresselia going to be a little bit tricky, Bastion is going to be a little bit tricky for you as lead. I guess actually it's kind of fine because you still have Dragon, so that's kind of okay for you. But something even like a Lantern, like they don't have a clear answer for Lantern either. Medicham can deal with it, but like it's not too great either there. So like there are some kind of issues for this team, but still just having Dewgong in the lead to try to realign, especially in the two-shade scenario thanks to the debuffs, is kind of nice. And then you have an RPS backline here with the Medicham and Carbink, which are of course very strong Pokemon. So definitely has some weaknesses, but definitely also should work out pretty fine for a lot of people. Team number 17, actually kind of similar to a team that we had prior already here from Dunebug. We're going to have the Scaladurge, Whiscash, as well as Altaria team. Interesting matchup there for sure. The Scaladurge is just a very interesting Pokemon. Like you see like so many really hard winning matchups, and then you see like some that are also like really hard losing against like those Mud Boys, for example. Sayswap is most likely the Whiscash here, which is very solid with the Scald debuff option. So like this is a lot of times comes down to like if you get the Scald debuff in order to realign, which might be also a little bit tricky though. But then the Altaria in the back hopefully can clean endgame. You have two answers basically for Steel type Pokemon, which is kind of nice. You have the Scaladurge as an answer for a Fairy type Pokemon, which is kind of nice. Struggles a little bit against the Azumarill maybe this team, but otherwise it's going to be definitely fine. Team number 18, we're going to have here a team that I would really recommend you to try out. I feel like this is a very solid lineup as well. I think I actually made a video about this as well then. It's going to be a team around Lickitung, Gligar, as well as the Trevenant. You can use the normal Gligar, you can use the Shadow Gligar, and we're going to have in the back the Trevenant as a sweeper. Basically how this works, you have Lickitung on the lead, which is very solid against a lot of Pokemon, but struggles a little bit against Steel type Pokemon or something like Fighting type Pokemon. You're going to have the Sayswap of the Gligar, which can bait out potential Ice type Pokemon, but also is good against Fighting plus Steel type Pokemon. And then in the back you have Trevenant, which is also very good against most Steel type Pokemon thanks to Shadow Claw, Shadow Ball, and resisting all moves from Registeel. Plus, yeah, you're going to be, of course, very good against Fighting type Pokemon, as you're going to be able to hit, for example, the Poliwrath for super effective damage. Plus, you're going to have just the Ghost typing, which is going to help out with any kind of counter user. So, if I would choose one team, this would be most likely the team that I would want to go for if I would really want to try to climb. Skarmory can be a little bit of an issue. Mandibuzz would be actually a bigger issue for this team, but like those Pokemon, like especially the Mandibuzz, is not really that common, so definitely a solid lineup to go for. Team number 19, we're going to have Pedoman's team here. We're going to have a team of the Shadow variant of the Dragonair again in the lead, the Vigoroth, which is most likely the Sayswap for this lineup, if you need a Sayswap, of course. And then you have the Lantern in the back, which kind of tries to sweep up endgame. A lot of Lantern lines, I don't know how really good like Lantern going to be at the end of the day, but definitely a solid Pokemon to go for. Here we're going to have, again, a very solid lineup, which is kind of similar to what a lot of people are running, especially with the Dragonair in the lead. I feel like Dragonair and like in general Dragon-type Pokemon are coming up a little bit more nowadays as well, so I would be prepared for this. Maybe Charm Pokemon would be actually really decent again, but we have to see about this. Maybe I'll make a video about it. But we can now move on to the final team for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like on the video. I would really appreciate it. We're going to have a team here with Dewgong again, and the same backline as we had before already with the Gligar as well as the Trevenant. So it's kind of an alternative, I guess, to the Lickitung lead here. And so, yeah, this is going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. More actually than 20 Legend teams for you to try out for the upcoming Go Battle League weekend there as well. So definitely good luck there with your battles, but also thanks all for watching, see you then, and have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.